Do you want to know what it takes to be a national champion? I wake up at 6 a.m. every day.
I train 37 hours each week. It's more than just the routines I'll do today. It's all the routines I do every day.
It's about overcoming injury and fear.
What does Tasha Schweikert fear? She fears that time may be running out on her dominance. The two-time defending national champion knows that a gymnast's prime is an ever-closing window. And today, she plans to show that she's still the one. Courtney Kupets is a world champion. So is Ashley Postel. Yet neither has claimed America's championship. Now may be their time to join the pantheon of greats. Like Mary Lou, Kim, and Shannon.
There can only be one national champion each year.
I've won 2 national championships, but I want a 3rd.
Today, I can become national champion.
And we welcome you to downtown Milwaukee, inside the U.S. Cellular Arena, the U.S. Gymnastics Championships. Dan Hicks with Tim Daggett, Elfie Schlegel, and Andrea Joyce. And there is the two-time defending champion, Tasha Schweikert from Las Vegas, Nevada, in her only real competition in nearly a year. She's coming back from an ankle injury, so lots of questions to be answered for Tasha Schweikert. Now there is one of the world champions here, Courtney Kupets, who shocked the gymnastics world last year in the World Championships, winning the title in the bars. She is considered a bona fide contender in this national championship. And so is 25-year-old Anya Hatch, a former 7-time champion from her native Cuba. She got her U.S. citizenship about a year ago, and it would be quite a story if she can break through at this age in this country. And there is the other surprise world champion from the United States at last year's World Championships, 17-year-old Ashley Postel, who won the title in the beam. And that is exactly where she begins this quest for the national championship.
And you know, Dan, for some athletes, they might be a little bit concerned starting on an event like balance beam, but for Ashley, this is such a comfortable, such an easy routine for her. Notice that Ashley has a heavily bandaged right thigh. She did not come into these championships with an injury. She actually suffered a huge fall in the training session on this event. Was a little bit concerned in practice the other day of how she would do.
Another big tumbling run right here. Perfect.
You know, she has such great variety. She's beautiful on the balance beam in her movements, her dance movements. This is the look, the package that international judges are really drawn to.
And she's no longer a surprise. I mean, she can't do gymnastics under the radar anymore, especially after that world title.
Ashley's coach, Tatiana Pereskaya, said she was so surprised at her attitude at the World Championships. She didn't just want to win any medal, she wanted the gold medal.
I was talking with Ashley about the pressure of being a world champion. She said, it's so bizarre when I go to events like this now. People aren't just watching me, they're in the stands taking notes on me.
Well, you talk about pressure, Tim Daggett, doing 4 hours of coverage here on NBC Sports with half a voice. Hang in there. Get some throat lozenges and hang with us. We got a lot more to go. As you take your first look at 15-year-old Holly Weiss competing in her first year on the senior team from Dallas, Texas. And here she is on the vault.
Probably not one of Holly's strongest events. We'll see her later on in the competition on her strengths, the uneven bars and balance beam. But here, she has made huge improvements.
And this is a real chance for Holly to make her own mark. She's been in the shadows of her teammate, Carly Patterson, who is not at these championships, out with a fractured elbow. Patterson won the American Cup earlier this year. As you look at Marcia Newby, 15-year-old from Virginia Beach. So seeing some new faces and the biggest meet of their lives.
Absolutely, and this young lady was just a junior in last year's competition, so obviously moving up to the senior ranks, trying to make the push towards making the 2003 World Team, next year's Olympic team.
Very fluid, long-legged gymnast, isn't she?
Yeah, not to mention great tumbling.
Yeah, a little excited that first one, all right? The first one's done. Let's go, let's go.
And there is the score for Holly Weiss, 8.975.
And remember, her start value on that vault was only out of a 9.7, so that's a good score.
And Ashley Postel with a 9.625 on her specialty, the beam. This the first of 2 days of competition. 50% of the scores from these preliminaries as you look at 17-year-old Katie Heenan. The second half of the score to determine the national champion will come from the all-around finals. And that will take place tomorrow. Here is a bronze medalist from the 2001 Worlds in the bars. How does she look on the beam?
A lot of success coming out of this Capital Gymnastics Training Center, and Coach Tatiana Paraskaya. Katie, a bronze medalist at the 2001 World Championships on uneven bars. She is very good as an all-around gymnast, Dan, but has had a whole year of injuries, and this is her year that she has just been making a comeback and looking much stronger. Little bit of a miss right there on her turn. Nice height on that jump combination. You know, it's just nice to see Katie back in competition. Her goals are still the 2003 World Championships, next year's Olympic Games.
The top 3 from these championships will qualify for the World Championships coming up later in the year.
Just to sign your team, do you know that?
I was like, very good, very good.
So not only this title at stake, but a place on the world team. And Marcia Newby starts off with a 9.325 in the floor exercise. All of these girls seem a bit relieved that the first event is out of the way, and Katie Heenan with a solid 9.35 to begin her championship. Well, as we continue, we'll see Anya Hatch, the 25-year-old, begin in her specialty, which is the vault, and Tasha Schweikert, the two-time defending champion, begins her quest for a third straight title. Here is 16-year-old Taryn Humphrey from Blue Springs, Missouri, ready to go on the floor exercise.
And you know, Dan, this could be an athlete to watch for because she is a consistent all-arounder. That is her strength. She could be one of those that quietly finds her way on this World Championship team.
Taryn Humphrey grew up in Bates City, Missouri, a small town of just 245, but finds herself competing in the big time of gymnastics today.
Biggest problem in that routine was one of the middle tumbling runs where she's bounded out of bounds.
Yeah, very nice. Good stuff. Okay, good stick. All right, very good. Nice big Arabian. Okay, nice full leg. Okay, just took it out. This side. Turn your arms down so you stay out straight. Nice hips. Good job. Good start. Okay.
So we go over to the vault, and this is the specialty for Anya Hatch, competing for the United States. Got her U.S. citizenship just a year ago, and this would be quite a story if she can contend for this championship. Again, the 7-time Cuban national champion, married her husband, now coach, and has been training in Connecticut after coming over from Cuba.
And Dan, this is an explosive vault. Wow.
Great start for Hatch, as we might expect, on an apparatus she feels very comfortable on.
She truly is one of the most explosive vaulters in the world today. Has so much time when she's done with that, just that small hop on the landing, but she's a contender to not just make this world team, but to win a world medal on vaulting.
And a big score for Hatch to begin. Humphrey starts off with a 9.0 on the floor. And that leads us to 15-year-old Tia Orlando, also starting on the floor exercise, her favorite event.
This is one of the most exciting routines of the entire competition. She really is such a powerful tumbler. You'll see it throughout the entire exercise. It's great.
You're right, that was action-packed from the outset.
You know, she comes from an amazing gym club, the Parkettes, and I don't know how they keep doing it year after year. They just churn out these amazing athletes, very talented.
I'll take that.
Here is 16-year-old Liz Tracas, who will begin on the bars. She won the vault competition at last year's Nationals.
Yeah, this is actually not one of her strengths, but she's had a lot of time to work on uneven bars, just coming back from an ACL surgery.
A lot of releases in this exercise.
Big releases, lots of air time.
This is great. She's going to try to do 2 in a row. Coming up right here.
Huge.
Oh.
Just a little close.
Liz's strength has always been the power events floor and vault, but as Elfie said, with the surgery, actually.
Huge improvement.
Yeah.
And she has the most bubbly personality of any competitor here. She's been bouncing off the gym ever since she got here.
She's just a happy person.
This makes me happy. Watch this here. 2 releases in a row makes it infinitely more difficult. That's the first one.
Better than you've done a long time.
That's great. Just a little bit close, but awesome gymnastics.
8.825 for Liz Tracas. And Tia Orlando starts off with a solid 9.375 on the floor. And here is the world champion of the bars last year, Courtney Kupets, just 16 years old. Again, like Postel, just burst onto the world gymnastics scene with that world title.
It was just amazing because it was the maturity in which they handled themselves at the world championships. I mean, these young ladies were no names and they won world titles. Just amazing.
That tumbling run was about as dead on as you can possibly be.
Courtney had a little bit of a setback 3 weeks ago. Lost a little bit of training time, tweaked her knee. You can see it's bandaged up there, the right knee. Routine is just so routine for her.
Yeah, this is like a routine that you do in practice.
Yeah, boom, boom, boom.
When nobody's watching, when there's no pressure at all. This is about as perfect as I've seen.
Only concern here, she hasn't had many dismount training times because of the 8 or 9 days that she had to lay off, but that was just amazing.
Her coach, Kelly Hill, a familiar figure in gymnastics coaching through the years.
Watch how dead on this is. Great extension of the legs. And you know, you can land and you can not wobble, but that's not wobbling. That was perfect.
9.6 for Kupets. Just another reason why the folks in gymnastics are so excited about the prospects of the United States in the upcoming Worlds, as well as the Olympics next year. And the only gymnast to compete in the Olympics in Sydney was Tasha Schweikert, the only one to compete that is here in these championships. And we begin to see some questions answered here on the floor.
And this first tumbling pass was actually where she injured the ankle. She actually has watered down her skills. That's going to cost her a 10th.
So Tasha Schweikert is back. The question is, how much is she back?
You're in. Good job. Start. Little tiny, this little thing. It was good though.
And you can see by the look on her face, she's not exactly thrilled about her debut in these championships.
Well, that first tumbling run, she bounded out of bounds and took that extra step. That'll be very costly.
We'll have more gymnastics from Milwaukee in just a moment.
I didn't see any plug on either one.
Back at this U.S. Gymnastics Championships, the opening score for the two-time defending champion Tasha Schweikert, a 9.275 in the floor. So the standings after the first rotation show Schweikert all the way down in 7th place. The leader is Anya Hatch after that opening vault. Chelsea Memel will turn 15 years old in a couple of days on Monday. One of the favorites here, if not from a competitive standpoint, certainly from a crowd perspective. And with more on that, we go down to the floor and join Andrea Joyce.
Dan, talk about a couple of big days. Wisconsin native Chelsea Memel competing not only in her first senior nationals, but also doing it in front of a hometown crowd. Her supporters have printed up about 400 of these Cheer for Chelsea t-shirts. Her parents, Janelle and Andy, run a gym in the area, so she's also got about 200 family members and friends scattered throughout the arena. And knowing that she would be the crowd favorite, her dad told me that he felt he had to prepare her for the extra noise and excitement level. So how do you do that in Milwaukee? Well, he took her to a Bucks playoff game about a month ago just to get her used to the environment. Now they're just hoping to feed off that positive energy from the crowd.
Well, if it's not enough pressure to compete in these championships, to do it in front of all of those supporters, Chelsea Memel from West Allis, Wisconsin.
And this is a great routine for Chelsea. She does some very unique elements throughout.
And this by far one of the most exciting release skills. Beautiful. She hasn't been rattled at all in training. Very strong as each day went on. In fact, it wasn't until a week ago that they decided that she would absolutely compete in the all-around. She's coming back from an ankle injury.
Great dismount coming up right here in combination. She'll jam to a handstand, double front. Great start, great start.
Very good. A little bit soft, but not your best, but you kept fighting and you pulled the whole.
Here is Marcia Newby in 6th place after the first rotation, getting ready for the vault runway.
Her coach, Jim Walker, told me that after 20 years of coaching, he finally has an athlete that he doesn't need to do anything for. She's so talented, so aggressive.
Super powerful on this event.
Score for Memel, 9.175.
Yeah, I don't like that. That's too low. I don't get that at all, Dan.
And the score for Newby, that vault, a 9.3.
And again, the start value on that vault was only out of a 9.7.
And that brings us to Ashley Postel. That 9.625 got her into 2nd, right behind Hatch after the first rotation. And here she is on the floor.
Beautiful dancer. Loves the limelight, by the way. She loves the cameras, being in this position. Brand new tumbling passes. You know, she's got the perfect package of great dance ability, Dan, not to mention super skills on floor exercise, this being a brand new tumbling pass for her, and she handled it very well.
Every time I have it, she's sweating back there. Gotta work on that.
Another good score for Postel, a 9.45. Will she be able to overtake the leader after the first rotation? Anya Hatch. We'll see her, the leader, when we continue from Milwaukee. Here is Tia Orlando coming up that strong floor routine in 4th place after the first rotation as she gets ready for the vault.
And I would say that this is her 2nd best event to floor exercise. She's one of those power athletes.
Surprise, surprise.
Double twisting, laid out Yurchenko.
A little bit rough on the landing.
One of the things that is critical on this vault is to explode. We saw Anya Hatch have all the time in the world to finish this. She kind of has to crunch it down a little bit. Her hips bend as she's landing, which is a deduction, and then, of course, the step forward.
So a 9-2 for Orlando. Halfway through these preliminaries. And here is Holly Weiss, the youngster trying to move up from 12th place after her vault score there.
One of my favorite exercises of the entire competition is Holly Weiss on bars. She showcases flexibility, not just in her shoulders, but tremendous Stalter work right there.
She was last year's junior national champion on this event.
Beautiful skill coming right here. Oh.
What's so nice about her work, Tim, is she takes her time with each of these skills. This bar routine is so smooth. Every transition, perfect. Great toe point.
She'll take that one.
Really see the confidence she has in that event come through there.
I love it.
With her coach Yevgeny Marchenko from the powerful Woga Club in Dallas, Texas. Watch this here. This is called an Ono spin. Perfect balance on one arm. Does
As
that
an oh no,
filter.
hang on.
As in a great Japanese gymnast from a long time ago.
Okay. Weiss looks like she's going to move up with that 9.5 in her specialty.
You know, very comfortable.
And here is Katie Heenan in 5th place after opening on the beam. Here she is in the floor.
Yeah, she started her competition off very strongly. You know, she's just thrilled to be back in competition. She's thrilled to be healthy. What a different athlete we're seeing this year. She's just, as I said, thrilled to be back. She looks so happy out there. A year ago, she couldn't dream of doing tumbling passes like this.
Keenan with an 8.7. Well, can Anya Hatch keep it going in first place after that vault? What's the rest of her gymnastics stack up after we know she's a great vaulter?
Well, this is her biggest challenge of the competition. On even bars, she always struggles a little bit here. Sometimes not quite as tight in the leg form, but she has made some very large improvements. First test right here, dead on.
Of course, her goal is to help the U.S. on her two strengths, which are vault and floor exercise. But I think she's making a huge statement here, saying, hey, if you need me, I'm ready.
Full twisting double.
Great swing.
I think that's as good as I've ever seen her be on bars.
Her husband Alan loved it. They met at the '96 Worlds. They had a long distance romance between Cuba and where he's from in New York before they got married in '97. It is quite a story as you look at Schweikert hoping to move up in the standings. But so far, Anya Hatch has stolen the show. Back to Milwaukee with more in a moment. Back in Milwaukee at the 2003 U.S. Gymnastics Championships. You're looking at Liz Tracas. She starts this second rotation in 19th place. Anya Hatch had a 9.275 on the uneven bars, so another good performance for Hatch.
You know, Liz said that one of the greatest challenges for her this year is coming back so quickly from her ACL surgery.
Twice had ACL injuries on 2 different knees.
Pretty amazing.
The latest kept her out of last year's Worlds or a chance to get on the team.
So she has had to make some adjustments to her gymnastics, watered down slightly.
I don't know, it sure seems like we're dealing with more and more injuries in this sport. Everybody's seemingly banged up.
Well, Dan, every 4 years, the international governing body of the sport gets together and they make the rules harder. They push the envelope a little bit more. The athletes have to do bigger, more difficult, more physically demanding elements, and sometimes it catches up to them.
Not to mention that on average, a lot of these athletes are training about 37 hours a week.
Oh, Elizabeth.
Good job, Liz. Oh,
Strong animal, man. That was just great. What did you do? You were so positive. You were so positive.
As always, you know exactly how Liz Tracas feels by just looking at her.
Very nice.
Many of the athletes look so serious on the floor, but you see this, it's so refreshing.
Not
She
Liz.
loves gymnastics. It's her ultimate playground.
Well, Schweikert has a bit of the game face going here, trying to work herself out of that 7th place as she aims for the ball.
Well, of course, with that ankle injury, this is a concern. The power events, it was a little bit for her on floor, and it is on vault as well. So these are her toughest 2 events.
Biggest challenge on this is it's a 1.5 twist off of the horse. That means it's a forward landing. It's blind, so it's hard to stick.
Didn't quite stick it, and she's been only training for a few weeks. She had the surgery in December, and then 6 weeks ago it started to bother her, so she had to shut down training again.
Yeah, this is such a different Tasha from last year. I mean, she likes the numbers. She likes to know that she's going to hit, and that big step obviously is going to cost her some valuable points.
Beautiful vault, though. It's just really, really the landing. That's all.
There's the score for Schweikert.
It was big, very big.
Seems a little happier after the second exercise. Tracas 9.175. Still beaming.
Now on
Courtney Kupets is next, and Kupets right behind Postel after the first rotation in third place.
Remember, she had that dynamite balance beam routine. Looked so unaffected. Just knocked it out of the park.
Well, you know, for someone who tweaked her knee just a few weeks ago and has been limited in landings and tumbling, you wouldn't have known it.
Kelly Hill has trained a couple of previous national champions in Dominique Dawes and Elise Ray, and maybe she's got another one in the making here.
Very difficult triple twist. You'll notice, though, she lands a little bit bent forward and has to take that little bit uncontrolled step. That'll cost her.
Now we're filming Ashley City.
9.35 for Kupets. So as we look at the standings, halfway through the first day of competition, Kupets in that second spot. Tasha Schweikert has moved up one spot from 7th to 6th, and you see Ashley Postel, who occupies the top spot. The gymnasts they're all chasing in the U.S. Gymnastics Championships. Back with more in just a moment. Back in Milwaukee at the U.S. Gymnastics Championships, so look at the standings after 2 of the 4 rotations. Well, it's not too surprising to see Postel and Kupets near the top midway through here. It is somewhat of a surprise, or is it, Elfie Schlegel, that the 2-time defending champion Schweikert is in 6th place?
Well, I don't really think it is. I think the expectation of Tasha winning this competition would be really a tough challenge for her. You know, she hasn't had the training time. That ankle has taken a real beating, and actually getting the first 2 events out of the way is a relief for her. It can only get better from here.
So while she's trying to get into the groove, Tim, you've got Kupets and Postel who have just continued to develop, and they've shown that here.
Well, they are, both of them, world champions, and they have both started out very, very well. You also can't count out Anya Hatch. All 3 of these athletes, Kupets, Postel, and Hatch, have really one super strong event remaining, and the other one is a little bit questionable, but it's going to be close.
And maybe one of the biggest surprises at the halfway point is Marcia Newby, just 15 years old, in 4th place.
And her coach, Jim Walker, said that one of the major reasons why she's doing so well is she has had so much experience over the last year. 4 different countries, 7 different competitions, 14,000 miles of travel in 4 weeks, and won 7 individual medals. But that is a huge mistake right there. Lost all the tension in her body, has a big arch.
And again, another form error on the top bar there.
It's too bad because this is a young lady that is a major up-and-comer. Everybody likes her. Marta Caroli, the program director, very high on her.
Well, no question, she has the skills. You can't count her out. Remember, this is her first senior national championships.
Yep, whoops. Well, you can hear newbie say whoops, a little shaky. So it looks like she's going to go down in the standings as you look at Katie Heenan, 13th place after the first 2 rotations.
Katie's planning to perform a vault. The start value is out of a 9.7. That's the maximum score she can receive.
She does a round off and then a full twist onto the horse. Doesn't really get the entire turnaround, which will cost her just a little bit, and a little bit of a pike down on the landing.
And it did cost her a 9.025 for Heenan. And like Heenan, newbie with a relatively low score on the uneven bars.
Next on the even parallel bars.
Holly Weiss, the youngster in the 7th spot as she gets ready for the beam.
And again, Dan, this
very
is
strong in this event.
Absolutely strong on uneven bars, but here on the balance beam, she's exquisite. You'll see her show off such amazing things like flexibility. She has wonderful form, not to mention a great dance ability on this event.
Looked
Big
like
skills.
a little Olga Corbett move there to start off.
Check out this skill.
Back handspring to full twisting back. So hard.
Talking to Marta Caroli, and she said that she felt this was the one area where the U.S. really needed to pick up some points was balance beam. Well, this young lady could fill that void for the team. She is capable of big scores here. Nice combination there, and see what she does. She loses sight of the beam. She takes a little bit of extra risk in some of the moves.
With this mount done in combination here.
Wow, big routine.
That's a girl. You did it. See? See, babe? You can do it. I love it. Good job.
We've heard that before.
Yeah, she'll love it.
Watch this here. Back handspring, and then she'll do a full twisting back somersault. She tries to keep her eyes on that beam the entire way around.
Just a small little check on the landing there.
Weiss with a big score of 9.725 as
Huge.
she looks to move up from that 7th spot. And Hatch looking to move up from the 3rd spot in the Gillette Venus U.S. Gymnastics Championships. Back at these U.S. Gymnastics Championships, a reminder to log on to NBCSports.com for all the latest news and features on the top performers. It's all at NBCSports.com. There is Tia Orlando getting set for her bar routine. Orlando in the 5th spot.
This is an event that Tia struggled with a little bit in practice earlier this week.
Here's a very different dismount.
You know what? That's probably the best set that she did all week.
No question.
Tell you, these first timers at this level of gymnastics are turning in some clutch performances, and that's what the coaches like about this new crop of young girls. They're not afraid to perform.
Absolutely, it's totally impressive. Remember, she was 5th in juniors last year.
Well, and then you've got the 25-year-old Hatch in 3rd position as she takes to the beam.
She has had some problems in training on her first acrobatic series. Comes up right here, finishes with a laid out back somersault. That's where the problem has been, right here.
Just hung on.
Just barely. That'll be a fairly significant deduction though.
But what's impressive is that Anya has added skills. She is a better athlete than she was when she competed for Cuba. That's a big skill. You know, her coach and husband, Alan, said a year ago, we thought, okay, let's give this a try. Let's just see how it all works out, if our body can handle it. They realized she could handle it, and she was improving as each competition went by.
After she won all of her titles in Cuba, she really retired from the sport at age 17. And then operating that gymnastics school in Connecticut with her husband, decided, you know what? I'm still not done. I feel competitive, and has decided to give it a shot. Her dream to get to the Worlds and then eventually the Olympics.
She's made a great commitment, backing off on her coaching responsibilities to put in more training time. It's great.
Great landing. Watch this here, a standing back with a full, very similar to what we saw from Holly Weiss.
You know, hard to do as a 17-year-old, and you know, can you imagine being 25 and throwing that skill?
How you doing? Back home.
Patch, another solid performance. Orlando's score, an 8.9.
That's going to hurt her a little bit.
And here is the bubbling Trikas.
The greatest cheerleader on the national team. New floor exercise for Liz.
I think she's enjoying this.
She is.
Watch this tumbling pass. Huge.
Liz was into it, the crowd was into it, and the music from the Academy Award-winning movie Chicago, taken to kindly here by the Milwaukee crowd, not too far away from Chicago.
Double A was marvelous. That's it. You just saw that. You just saw that full right there, man. You know, lay out full out.
I tell you, it is so great to see her being able to tumble like this. So often you see an athlete that has an ACL in this sport of gymnastics. It is so unforgiving, and they never tumble the way they used to. She looks fabulous.
A 9-1 for Trikas.
Yeah, and this isn't her best stuff yet. She still has more difficult tumbling she's planning to add.
Courtney Kupets in the 2nd position as she gets ready for the vault.
Has struggled a little bit on this event. Really the only problems I've seen her had all all week long, doing a very intricate vault, a half twist on, and then a front with a half off. Oh. Oh boy.
And that's a fall, hands down.
Look at the one judge.
At least 5/10 of a point for putting those hands down. And that was somewhat of a technical error. What she does on this is starts the twist of the second flip a little bit earlier than she typically does. Maybe she even got a little bit lost in the air on that. That was surprising though.
And a low score for Kupets, 8.775. As she is going to drop in the standings. Schweikert looking to move up from the 6th spot. The defending champion continues her quest for her 3rd straight title when we come back to Milwaukee.
Here at U.S. Cellular Arena and the U.S. National Gymnastics Championships.
Tasha Schweikert doing a little visualization. This is a pivotal point of these championships in the 6th position as she gets ready for the uneven bars.
Next up
Let it go higher.
bars for Gymnastics, Tasha Schweikert.
This title is not out of reach for Tasha. She is a little bit back, but has so much experience. It can happen.
And this is an event that she can do in her sleep, basically. Huge release skills coming up early in the routine.
This one's unbelievable right here. Watch the height.
It's great.
Oh, great. Flies from bar to bar. Oh.
Uh-oh.
Yikes. Gigantic mistake. On one of her easiest elements in the entire routine, had all the hard stuff done. Oh.
Now on ball, Capital Gymnastics National Training Center's Ashley
Great
Costello.
routine. Just have to keep. When you hit, you're vertical, but you have your chest out, so it falls over. It's perfect routine up to there.
Yeah, I have to agree with Cassie. It was perfect. These were spectacular skills, but right here, you know, this is inexcusable for someone like Tasha at this level of her game. And she'll be the first one to tell you that.
Low score for Schweikert that really cost her, 8.85. So with the 2-time defending champion faltering, that opens up the top spot even more. And that has been occupied by Ashley Postel. Ready for the vault.
Not only is she coming into this competition wanting to win the all-around title, but she's coming in with a bunch of new skills. This is a fairly new vault for Ashley.
Wow. Last 3 athletes we've seen all having that bobble there. She has done that great all week long. I have not seen her miss this. She doesn't quite get the bounce off of the vaulting area that she typically does. Just a little bit under-rotated. But putting your hands down in gymnastics, that is a big no-no.
And the score reflects that no-no, an 8.9 for the leader after 2 rotations. So we'll see if Postel can stay on top. The youngster, Chelsea Memel, is next, getting ready for the beam. And all of her supporters continuing to make some noise.
You know, you think that that would have to rattle her a little, but she is so into her gymnastics. She's focused. In fact, that's one of the great qualities that her coach, Jim Chuddy, says she has. She's very calculated, thinks a lot about each skill.
This is probably the most unique exercise of the entire championships. Front with a half right there.
If I had to sum up this exercise on balance beam, she has variety.
Watch this here. Very, very difficult. Loses sight of the beam. It's called an illusion. One more big one. Standing Arabian.
She just keeps coming at you with big skills. You know, and what's so impressive, you know, Tim, she's just landing everything, nailing, not even a waver. It's amazing.
Her coach, Jim Chuddy, a big fan of Cirque du Soleil, thought this looked very Cirque.
Wow.
Chelsea with her coach, Lori Glazer. They've been together a long time. Lori used to give her private dance lessons at her kitchen counter when she was 7 years old.
Her parents were All-American gymnasts. They now own a gym. They wanted somebody else to coach her. They thought that was going to be the best situation for her, and it certainly has worked out. Well, after the low score on the uneven bars, how far will the two-time defending champion fall in the standings? We'll have them for you after 3 rotations in a moment. Back in Milwaukee, Chelsea Memmel's beam score, a good one, 9.55. And a look at the standings after 3 rotations. Anya Hatch has regained the lead. Holly Weiss, just a couple of rotations ago, was in 12th place. She's moved into 2nd, just ahead of Postel and Kupets. And there is Memmel, who has moved up into the 5th spot, and Schweikert is now all the way down to 10th. A lot more gymnastics to come, but Hatch has to be awfully pleased with her spot.
Oh yeah, and she's going into a very strong event for her, the floor exercise.
Her coach and husband, Alan, said that for so many years in Cuba, she was doing gymnastics for somebody else, the government. It really wasn't all that fun. Doing it now in the U.S., she enjoys it so much, it's like eating ice cream, he says.
Well, it hasn't been much of a treat so far for Tasha Schweikert.
Well, Tasha has to test that ankle one more time on a tough event.
In the meantime, some of the younger gymnasts have been performing admirably. This is Taryn Humphrey in the 6th spot.
And many are looking at Taryn as that consistent all-around athlete. She could fill a void for the U.S. on any apparatus. This is, I think, her best event. Check out this skill right here.
Oh, the way.
Whoa.
Triple turn.
You know, we see all the flips and the twists, but that is probably one of the most difficult skills being done in the entire competition. She follows it with another one.
And she picks up a few bonus points along the way. Taryn's been working really hard on her form. That was one of the areas that she was criticized for as a junior athlete. You can see that she's really paid attention in that area.
I'll tell you, all the coaches have to continually be impressed with not just the talent, but the way that these gymnasts are performing in pressure situations. It only bodes well for the upcoming Worlds and the Olympics next year.
And her coach, Al Fong, says that the reason they are dealing so well with the pressure as a whole is how often they get together as a group. They have these training camps down at the Caroli's Ranch, and it is pressure-packed. There's always somebody who raises the bar, and he says the entire team has come up because of it.
That's a fantastic exercise.
And you can see the shift in philosophy that U.S. Gymnastics made after the disappointing results in Sydney beginning to take full fruition here as we're just a little more than a year away from the next Olympics. These athletes comfortable, confident, and ready to go.
Here is that helicopter tight element here. Look at how many times.
It's huge. 3 revolutions. As I mentioned, she gets bonus for this skill. You know, that's taking a huge risk on this event. Combination dismount. She's happy.
And she is happy with that score, a 9.575 for Humphrey. And Holly Weiss happy in that 2nd position as she gets ready to take to the floor.
one of the best dancers in the competition. Certainly lacks a little bit of the power, but the dance is beautiful. Little bit short on that.
You know, I have to tell you, there's something to be said in selecting a great piece of music. It will go a long way. That was a beautifully choreographed exercise, great eye contact.
Advice finally cracked a little smile at the end of that routine, and now she's got the game face right back on.
Good job, baby. Good job. Atta girl.
She continues to impress, and so does Liz Tracas, hoping to move up from the 11th position, but this is her favorite event, the national champion last year on the vault.
Yeah, and you won't see the same type of power vault that she did last year, Dan, because of the injury. In fact, the start value is only a 9.4 here. Safe vault.
Safe vault, done extremely well. This is really the last event that has come back for her. She usually does that vault with an additional full twist and does it easily.
And why take chances at this point? She's still coming back from her injury. As you mentioned, Tim, beautifully done. Great height, power.
Yeah, she'll be doing at least another full in no time soon.
And that's a good score for Liz.
With it being a 9.4 maximum, it certainly is.
Yeah, but it was beautiful.
And Weiss beaming about her floor exercise score, 9.075. Could have been higher.
You know, she had a couple of places in the exercise where the tumbling wasn't as powerful. That was a good score for her.
Well, we will see if Anya Hatch can stay on top when we come back. The leader after 3 rotations as these U.S. Gymnastics Championships continue from Milwaukee, Anya Hatch. Again, the former 7-time Cuban national champion, the leader as she gets ready for the floor.
And Dan, she is very good on this event, but I think equally impressive is the fact that her hubby choreographed this routine.
Said that this routine's theme is the relationship between a flamenco dancer and a bullfighter. Tim, you have to tell me, did you see it? Do you see the relationship?
Well, whatever the relationship is, she seems to be zeroing in on the target. Another solid performance for Hatch as she wraps up the first of the 2 days of competition.
That would be so huge if she could win this U.S. Championships at 25 years old. That is a monumental task.
And a sport dominated by young teenagers as the 25-year-old who leads the way. Kupets is next on the bars.
And this is where she is world champion. Amazing apparatus. What is just so remarkable is her form.
It's like she plays on these bars. Looks like everything is so easy. She flies a little bit higher than everybody else. This release right here kind of leaves the zip code on that one.
When she won the world title, her mom was at the World Championships, and it was an usher that actually informed her mom that she won, and her mother couldn't believe it, said, no, 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 you must be mistaken.
Oh, she nailed that routine.
It's great. It looks too easy, you're right, absolutely.
It was the best routine I've seen you do since you've been here. Very, very
Her coach, Kelly Hill, probably one of the best bar coaches this country's ever had. A gymnast she trained along with, Elise Ray, one of my all-time favorites. Beautiful dismount here. Zeroes in on that landing and just, oh, the smallest little hop.
Kupets with a big score of 9.5 on her favorite event.
On the bars, could you see that little big screen? Out of the corner of my eyes.
Well, it didn't look like she was distracted. And Anya Hatch has been pretty much spot on so far on 9.2 in the floor.
I did it today. Let's see what happens tomorrow.
Hatch halfway home, but a lot more gymnastics to come. Tasha Schweikert trying to become the first gymnast since Kim Zmeskal won 3 titles in a row in the early 90s. But in 10th place as she gets ready for her final event, the beam, the U.S. Gymnastics Championships. Still lots more gymnastics to come from Milwaukee. These preliminaries comprise just half the score, which will be used to determine the overall champion, but this is that time of the competition where Schweikert really can't waste any more points.
Now Tasha is mounting with a very simple mount and typically does a front summy onto the beam, but the philosophy behind that is Marta Caroli is asking all the girls to just step onto the beam. She wants them to take the risk once they're on the balance beam. A little different.
And a much different position for Schweikert. Again, in 10th place, trying to battle back, get her way into contention again.
Well, it has been a long and rocky few months for Tasha. Not only the injuries, but about a month and a half ago, her coach, Cassie Rice, had it. She felt that Tasha wasn't doing all that she could, wrote her a letter and said that it was time to move on. It was not going to work out anymore. Tasha initially thought she was just upset and would get over it. The next time she came to the gym, she was told she needs to leave. Finally, they got back together, and she says, Cassie says, over the last month, she has been awesome.
Yeah, she really felt that physically coming into this competition, she was good. And Cassie believed that mentally she was great. So this is probably a bit of a surprise. She's handled this routine, it's safe. Not spectacular for Tasha. Solid dismount.
Okay, today's over. So we have another day of really good meet.
That body language there. She's not upset about that routine. It's what happened earlier in the day for Tasha that's got her so bummed out here.
Yeah, despite the blunder on the uneven bars, without that, she would be right in the thick of it.
She would. She could be leading.
Hi, Taylor and Lauren.
So here is Ashley Postel, and Postel in the 3rd position with her last event here, the bars.
She has completely revamped her uneven bar routine, made it a lot less intricate, and has actually a higher start value. Says she hits it a lot easier. She does a lot of releases from bar to bar.
Beautiful swing and extension. Toe point.
Nice release here. Perfectly on.
You know, it's really impressive to come into a national championship with brand new sets.
Dismount, double front. Nice job.
You know, Coach Tatiana said that what is so great about this athlete is when she sets a goal for herself, she's usually very successful in achieving it. She likes to win.
It's one of my favorite skills in gymnastics. Shows tremendous flight. Look, she throws that bar, launches herself in the air, and then back down to the low bar. This is where we saw Tasha falter earlier today on that exact skill. And Ashley jumps once again up to the high bar.
Good job. Very nice. Very good.
Well, at 9-4 for Postel on the bars, a good score.
That's a very good score. Actually, bars has been one of the tightest events all day long.
Wow, look at that score for Schweikert. What do you think of that? That's pretty high.
That was a nice score for Tasha.
Okay. Chelsea Memel in the 5th spot as they begin to pump her up as she gets ready for the floor. Again, the loudest ovations of the night have been reserved for this youngster from West Dallas.
We've seen. I like this athlete. You know, she's not afraid to compete. This is a great quality.
And she's still 14. She'll turn 15 on Monday. Well, there is the leader after the first day of competition. 25-year-old Anya Hatch has the U.S. Gymnastics Championship title within reach. We'll talk to her when we come back to Milwaukee.
You did the best you could, and you were fighting.
If you're heading out there, I'll give you a tip. It's wild and it's far, and you're in for a trip. For just when you think it couldn't get rougher, the path goes crooked and the going gets tougher. But once you've traveled this far off the track, you won't settle for less.
Stop itching and odor, keeping feet cool and dry. And by Geico, a 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And at the midway point of these 2003 U.S. Gymnastics Championships, Anya Hatch leads the way. Postel in second. Holly Weiss in good position in the third spot. Schweikert's going to have to move her way up. Here's Andrea Joyce with a leader.
Anya, congratulations. This is a sport dominated by teenagers, and yet here you are at 25 years old in the lead after the preliminaries. How do you explain it?
Oh my gosh, there's no explanation. You just work hard every day and try to do your best in the meet, and that will be the best result for you and the best gift.
How much do you think your maturity has helped you out there? You've got a lot more experience than some of the other younger gymnasts.
A lot. Actually, I was confident today. I had a good practice the week. And I just said, okay, this is another practice and have fun out there. And it definitely helped me, my experience.
A lot of success as a gymnast for Cuba. What would it mean to you to be the U.S. champion now that you have your U.S. citizenship and the waiver from Cuba?
It would be amazing. I will be really happy and willing to represent the United States in any meets.
Is that what motivates you? You had told us last year that you dreamed about that, about competing for the United States.
Definitely. It makes me work harder every day. United States, we have such a good talent and good team. We really work together, and it's a pleasure. It's big time. It's a pleasure.
Good luck in the finals.
Thank you.
Good job. Thanks.
Quite a story unfolding around Anya Hatch. In the meantime, it's been a bit of a bumpy road for the two-time defending national champion. The biggest bump coming on that uneven bars routine. Can she come back from the 6th spot? Andrea Joyce is with her now.
Tasha, you only had about 4 weeks to train to get ready for this meet. Your thoughts on how you did?
Well, you know, I haven't competed for it's almost been a year since last nationals. Yeah, just only 3 weeks ago I was actually started tumbling and things. So I think it was a good experience for me just to get out there. I mean, I haven't felt that adrenaline in the whole scene of competition in so long. So I think that had something to do with my little mistakes. But, you know, I mean, bars is totally uncharacteristic of me. Just, I mean, like my easiest thing. But I think it was just something that maybe was teaching me a lesson, you know, never to, maybe somewhere in the future, well, I'll think more and take that skill for granted. So
you love this championship, this national championship. How difficult was it for you emotionally to be out there and not be 100%?
You know, it's hard because I would have loved to win a third, you know, but we still have one more day left. You know, but I just went out there and with my routines, what I had, you know, my short time of training, I just tried to go out there and basically try to see what was going to happen. So,
what does this tell you about where you are and what you need to do still?
You know, I think I need more competition underneath my belt, you know, for recent things. Probably just more routines because most of my mess ups were just little things that were really uncharacteristic, like little stumbles and a shoot over that I never missed. I don't remember last time I missed it in training, and you know, just little things. So it wasn't something that was so like tragic or anything.
We wish you luck in the days ahead.
Thank you.
It has been a long-awaited test for the reigning two-time national champion Tasha Schweikert. Thrown back into the pressurized environment of this championship. And some of the questions were answered. She wasn't quite the old rock-steady, confident Tasha, but she's still just a half point out of first. And she's got another 4 events to try and make a comeback and make up the difference. And in the process, that has opened the door for the rest of the contenders, young and old. One more day of competition to make their own marks. In this, their country's most prestigious event, who will emerge as the next national champion? We'll have the conclusion for you tomorrow at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. So for Tim Daggett, Elfie Schlegel, and Andrea Joyce, I'm Dan Hicks saying so long from Milwaukee, as tomorrow may be the day we discover the new face of a champion.